Welcome back to my Mental Health and Crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist, that's a CBT therapist, and a licensed mental health counselor. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the contents in this channel. I'd like to start by wishing everyone a blessed Monday, a lovely week ahead. This is the case of the Idaho Moscow quadruple murders that took place on the 13th of November 2022. The victims are Madison Morgan, Kaylee Congalves, Ethan Chapin, and Zana Knodel. May they rest in peace and condolence to their families. I hope that the correct justice is served in this case and in every other case. We should always remember that it is the victims that are the priority and their families. At the same time, it is important to ask the tough questions so that we can seek the truth and that the correct justice is served. Critical thinking is a very important skill. In every phase of life you go through, every decision you make, you have to have some critical thinking. It's important to follow the facts of the case, the affidavit. I do understand that, the timelines. It's extremely important. But what happens in a case when everything that has been presented so far has been mixed messages, timelines change after 7 weeks into the search for the killer of these horrific crimes? Are we just supposed to say, okay, they told us at the start that the timeline was between 3 to 4 o'clock that the murders happened, so I'm going to follow the new affidavit, which we're supposed to. That's fair. But what if it doesn't make sense? To start with, this is for entertainment purpose, only strictly entertainment purpose. You're aware that 48 Hours made a special episode. If y'all remember the previous episode that 48 Hours made, I believe it was a month or a couple of weeks into this horrific quadruple murders, we had Zana and Kaylee's friend on an interview. And Kaylee's friend clearly stated that she found out about the horrific incidents at 10 a.m. I find that to be crucial because according to the affidavit, it says that DM, one of the surviving roommates, who happens to be a witness to, said, or it was stated that she called some boys from the Sigma Chi fraternity so that they could come and help because somebody was unconscious. Keep that in mind. 10 a.m. How would they know about that? How would they know that these 4 beautiful souls perished, that they're deceased? How would they know? When the roommates found someone unconscious, they called the Sigma Chi fraternity boys. My question is why? Not being sarcastic, but does the Sigma Chi boys, the fraternity, do they have some kind of 911 aid? Do they have medical experience? Is any of them doctors for them to be called? When you see an unconscious person, God forbid, even on the street, everyone knows usually the right thing to do. We immediately call 911 because they have the expertise, they have the equipment to save a person, and legally they're supposed to be the ones dealing with anyone who's unconscious or anyone who's injured. Let's remember when the first officer walked into the scene. He said the place was reeking of blood. We're not talking about 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're talking about 8 hours. 8 hours before someone actually made the call to 911. What was going on in that house? Above everything, this is supposed to be a bloody murder. Trigger warning. I hate to say the word, but it is. So wouldn't someone notice, smell that there are deceased people in the house? And let me remind you, we're not talking about one victim. We're talking about 4. 4 victims horrifically murdered. May the rest in peace. Kaylee, his friend, heard about it at 10 a.m. Let that sink in. 10 a.m. Who called her? I wonder. Was it Dylan? Was it Bethany Funk? Was it the Sigma Chi boys? I believe half of the college knew about it. Or at least all the close friends, all the people who used to party in the house knew about it. These 4 victims were horrifically murdered. I personally believe, and this is my speculation, guys, that something happened between 3 to 4. Or maybe 2:40 to 3:40. The reason I say that is it's important, very important, extremely important to look at the background near you. Actions, behaviors, things happening when the murders were happening. We don't know yet, obviously, when the murders happened, but I'm discussing what we were told at the start. For 7 weeks, we were told, before Brian Christopher Kohberger was arrested, that these murders took place somewhere between 3 to 4. We were told that this was a targeted incident. When the police was asked, the Chief Fry was asked, who was targeted? Was it the victims or was it the resident? They kept on going back and forth about that. He said at the start he thinks 1 or 2 of the victims could have been targeted. The prosecution, Mr. Thompson, told Brian Enton that he believes it was the resident that was targeted. You can watch that on Law and Crime, and I have that on my channel too. We saw the incident of the Banfield minor alcohol stop, and you could clearly see in that incident that there was a lot of things that did not make sense. That's one of the reasons I speak a lot and analyze that interview. So the interview, the conversation I made between the police, the undercover police, and the three boys. Actually, should I say four with Saeed in it. I've noticed every creator and every person, every YouTube creator and every TikTok creator, social media creator, media, everyone analyzes things obviously different. We are not the same. But luckily, as a licensed mental health counselor, I always check the behavior and what's going on. I observe such things. Because not only as a licensed mental health counselor, as a licensed cognitive behavior therapist, CBT, we deal with your thoughts and your behavior. We do a scale out of 0 to 10 of how high or how low someone's anxiety is. What I saw in the Banfield body cam video really concerned me. I hope Ann Taylor comes across that and investigates it. I hope she gets a couple of therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists, people in the mental health field to check with her what they see. The three guys that you see, the three minors, when the police makes them cross the road and stand near their car, actually where Maddie's jacket was allegedly, pay attention to the guy who's wearing shoes that look like Vans. I'll tell you why. If you go back to that clip, the next time you watch it, just don't look at the other surroundings. Don't look at the other surroundings. Pay attention to that boy. Pay attention to his breathing. Although you can't hear his breathing, you can see the movements of his stomach and chest. This is just my speculation. You can see that he's breathing heavily. He has his arms crossed. That is a typical defense mode. When somebody's already not exactly in defense, but they don't feel comfortable. So obviously this is a minors being stopped by the police. I don't expect them to be anxiety free, but I didn't expect his anxiety, his anxiousness to be showing so much out of him. He breathes in, he breathes out. His chest goes in, out. The other guy in the middle with the glasses on, or sunglasses, I don't even know what they have on. Basically, he nudges him with his hand. Pay attention. And then you see this other one, the one with the Vans shoes. You see him automatically trying to kick in or stamp on the black cloth and trying to push it into the bushes. What is the purpose and what is the reason? We don't know. But it's fishy. You have the whole situation of Banfield under questioning. There should be questions for that body cam. These boys were asked clearly when they were stopped in the field, where did you all come from? They started hesitating. Then the officer asks them, where did you come from? So he said, a party. So he said, what kind of party? He said, who? Do you know the host's name? One of them says directly, I don't know. And then the other one says, I think his name is Matt. Now pay attention to that. You all went to a party. You don't know the address, the apartment number, and the person who's hosting the party. Isn't that scary? I do understand these are college kids. They go in and out to parties. We all have been that age. That's not a problem. The issue is when you just came from a certain place 5 minutes ago and you've been stopped by the police. You do not remember the person's name, the host of the party, but guess what? They pointed straight to that direction. I know it's not only the victim's house in that direction. There's the Queen Road apartments, there's the Troy Road, all of those things. I don't understand that. But the way they pointed to that direction was a red flag for me. Then you have the four figures running, which is extreme concern. And I hope Ann Taylor uses that one to find out what exactly happened. You have Saeed screening through his pictures on his phone. In that pictures, I personally see a lot of horrific pictures that looks like it is a crime scene. Although they're very blur, some of them you can actually clearly see. You see a person with a whole white mask on it. You can only see his eyes. He was watching those pictures when law enforcement, the undercover police asked him to show his ID. That is what caught my attention. I was thinking, okay, the officer asked you to show the ID. Why are you taking so long time? Then he showed the ID. Then he started sliding back into the pictures. When it comes to the Sigma Chi boys, I have nothing against them. But I have questions and doubts and concerns with them. I've heard at least a certain YouTube creators watching a couple of days ago insisting and saying that she knows the Sigma Chi boys and that they are good and they are being honest and they're being helpful and they're being threatened and such things. Threats, I don't do threats. Number one thing that I don't do, although I've been on YouTube for a while, for the last 2 years, and I've been a viewer in many channels, been a mod in many channels, I would say one thing. I never contact anyone in a case. Because number one, it's illegal. So by this YouTube creator contacting the Sigma Chi boys, that is really extremely concerning. They could be giving you fake information, or they could be giving you information that they should have only given the prosecutor, the lawyers, and the court system, and law enforcement. We are just YouTube creators, mind you. Let's be mindful about that. We are not here to take interviews of people who could allegedly be suspects. I'm one person who doesn't back off from the truth. I don't care what people say. I do care what people say, but I don't care if other creators say, oh, this is nonsense and this is a circus, why you're talking about the fortune and why you're talking about this and that. In every case, it's called critical thinking. Think out of the box. It does help a lot. We're not supposed to be biased in a case. If you go with that mentality in a case, that you know everything and that you believe everything that you've been spoon-fed, then you have a problem. Then you're going to be disappointed in court. Have an open mind. This is what my open mind, my decision tells me. Brian Kohberger could definitely be a suspect. Because he's leather. Let's play devil's advocate for a second. His knife sheath was found there. Some can say it was planted there. We'll come back to that one. But there's things like his phone pinging there and such things that doesn't make it easier for him. And with Brian not giving up his alibi, just saying he was driving is more questionable. I'll start with what I see with Brian Kohberger. His phone being on flight mode or being out of service is another concern. Okay? When the police came to arrest Brian Kohberger, according to them, he had on surgical gloves and such things. Doesn't look good for him. Let's play devil's advocate for a second, yeah? But now, I'll tell you why. Now let's flip it to the other way around. I know motive is not important. At least in the States, maybe. Over here, motive is definitely important in the UK. Because motive leads you to the reason the person did it. Some cases have no motive. Some people just thrill kill. But let's go back to motive. What is the motive? I believe it's important, although it's not used in trial. I've been trying to find reasonable motives. Reasonable doesn't make sense to me. Unless Brian Kohberger wanted to be a SK, wanted to be another Ted Bundy, wanted to outbid the system. I'm talking as a therapist with my psychological mental health background now. Yes, there are SKs like that. There are people who fantasize about doing such things. There are antisocial personality disorder people around. Old term for it is psychopaths. I've heard people using that, and that is completely wrong. We should be careful of not using that. He could have fantasies, he could have thought, okay, now that I know so much about how to get away, like now that I know so much about crime scenes and how to clean up after crimes, I'm just thinking out loud. He could have thought, you know what, I can outbid the system. And it could be a person who has antisocial personality disorders in a very, very sick form. And without being detected, without being noticed, it becomes a problem in the society. There are many killers like that. So if somebody's trying to say that was the motive he did it, I may be actually willing to listen to that. But when people say he did it because he was following Maddie and he liked all the pictures, liking someone's pictures and following someone's picture doesn't make you a killer. That just makes him someone who likes a person. Driving 12 or 13 times to the location of where the girls were killed is a red flag. It's a bit fishy. But you know why it's not fishy at all for me? How do we know that Brian Kohberger did not know the victims? All the 4 victims, may they rest in peace, are gone. We assume that he doesn't know them, but we don't know that. How do we know that Brian Kohberger doesn't know the 2 surviving roommates? We don't know that either. He could know DM. He could know BF. Why does he want BF to testify? Like BK and his lawyer believe that Brian Kohberger, BF has information and statements as a witness that is unique to her perspective, her way. She must have seen something that DM did not see. Or she must have said something that DM did not say. Let's not forget, BF was in the Sigma Chi party that the couple was last seen in. Zana, and Eaton. The last place they were seen at is allegedly the Sigma Chi. When the police came out, they asked us clearly, they asked the public for help for the couple's timeline, not Maddie and not Kaylee. May they all rest in peace. Now let me come to that Fortune article for a second that many people take as a joke. I've heard many YouTube creators making fun of that. But you know what? Every case, there's a bit truth in it, a lot of speculations in it. Many cases have the truth, speculation, rumors, everything bundled in a wrap. 20 years ago, there wasn't social media. So cases had to be done in the old-fashioned way. And sometimes they got the right killer, mostly they did, and sometimes they didn't. Innocent people used to go to jail. But nowadays we live in a world where social media dominates. In mental health counseling, when we look at a person's case study, we go way back to their childhood. There's a reason to find out where things took a turn for the worse or for the best. The Fortune article I find to be important, if it's true. Because in the Fortune article, the 2 Davids and the people involved in the Sigma Fraternity boys, some of them, the few that are involved, actually predicted to do this. They predicted that they would do this in such a manner. They said 2 weeks before the incident, they got off at social media. 2 weeks after the incident, they're going to get off social media. David Lodge, his room faces the girls' second floor and third floor. He said in the Fortune Post, David said that they would do this in 19 minutes. 19 minutes. It just takes 3 minutes, I think, 2-3 minutes to run down to the victim's house. So let's play along with that. If they did it, allegedly, doesn't it make sense that the 4 figures running could actually be one of those boys, or 4 of those boys, or maybe 3 boys and 1 girl? We don't know, but it's worth thinking of. You see 4 others on the Banfield stop, stopped by the police, and you see the fishy behavior going on. The boy who had on the black shoes, the thin, tall boy, the skinny boy, pay attention to everything about him. His anxiousness, the shoes he has on. Wasn't that the shoes, allegedly, that they found the latent footprint in front of DM's room? Could that just be a coincidence? I know many college kids wear Vans. But it's strange that it was found there. One of them had a glove. One single glove. Last time I saw someone wearing a single glove was Michael Jackson. But he used to do that for entertainment purpose. May he rest in peace. So I don't know what these boys' stories are. Some people said it was a shadow, it wasn't a glove. Keep on rewinding it, keep on forwarding it. I've taken many screenshot pictures of it. It's a glove. The funny thing is, it looks weird because it's not a normal glove. It's a long glove, like, you know, the ones that electricians and those kind of jobs use. I think it's those gloves that you don't cut your fingers. Not sure. Allegedly. You have Saeed watching some horrific pictures there. It could be just a joke from a party with people with ski masks and all that, and you can only see the eyes. But what a coincidence. He was watching those pictures the same night, the same timings, the girls, and Ethan got killed. The 4 figures, if that doesn't question people, then I can't help you. We were never told what the 4 figures were about. The police has never made it clear if they found out who the 4 figures are, why they were running, why they came from that direction, why they're going to the Sigma Chi direction. So do you blame me for trying to dig deeper into these people? Look at the grub truck video. The grub truck Twitch video was, I don't know what to say. There was so much going on, so much red flags, I don't know which one to focus on anymore. You have the guy with the black tracksuit coming in. He looked like he and John Jack Showalter were texting each other. You see one mobile device light up. Then you see the other one is one's light up. It's like they're texting each other. One gets a message, one gives a message. Watch that. I have that in my clip. You have this guy who comes, chucks his food, brand new food that he waited for 20 minutes, 15 minutes. He gets it, he chucks it, and he came with a white car. A white car dropped him off, and a white car picked him up. Isn't that strange? You can barely see it, but you can see the end of the white car and the wheels. Why do I mention that? Because a white car is in question. Isn't a white Elantra in question? The last time I checked, the police were searching for 2011 to 2013. Yeah, 11 to 13. White Hyundai Elantra. When did the Hyundai Elantra turn into a 2015 with clear window mirrors? The one that the poster that the gas station took was dark tinted windows. The gas station one, you could see someone sitting behind. The car was speeding, you could see a figure sitting behind in the back seat. Don't you remember that the police, Chief Fry, and the press conference officer, they all kept on saying, we want to speak to the occupant or occupants. Persons. Go back and watch it from the beginning. When did the persons turn into a person? When did the occupants turn into occupant? The officer, the police office, or the police chief said that that car was seen around the area, and we want to ask the person or occupants information about what they could have seen. Pay attention to that. The DoorDash camera. The DoorDash driver who allegedly came with Xana's food could be anyone. Or, how do we know that Xana ordered food? Because the police told us. Let's remember one thing. My sister could pass me by, or my sons, in the early 20s and 18 and 21, could actually just say, Mom, give me a Visa card, I need to order something on Amazon, I need to order, what's it called? Food. Delivery, whatever. Most of us parents have children who ask their parents, obviously, which is good, to borrow their Visa card or something. I'll give you another example. Partners, your partner could say, I haven't got my money yet. My pay for my work is a bit late. Let me have your card. It doesn't mean that you ordered it. Your husband could have ordered it. Your children could have ordered it. Your friends could have ordered it. Somebody in the residence could have ordered the food on Xana's card. Allegedly. Xana being on TikTok, just because the app was on, it doesn't mean she was on TikTok. My Facebook app is on very often, although I haven't used it in over a year and a half. But it's still on because I can't remember the password, so I can't put it down. If I log out of it, I can't log back in. Does that mean I was on my Facebook? Somebody could have borrowed my mobile device I could have been watching something live on TikTok or on Facebook. It doesn't mean it was me. I didn't see any dash door driver coming in, did you? Wouldn't there have been traffic? Wouldn't the suspect, if it was Brian Kohberger, wouldn't he have got scared and thought, whoa, hold on now. I'm going to a crowded house with a dog and 6 people in the house, and these people have parties all the time, often, so there could be 20, 30 people there. He wouldn't have gone in if he saw the DoorDash. Hopefully we'll see the receipts in the court when the trial starts. But it doesn't make sense. Yesterday I played a clip of shoes, trainers, sneakers hanging on the wire post, on the telephone wire post. Those are 4 pairs of shoes. I remember seeing it in the very beginning of this case, maybe I think a month later, around January, somewhere like that. But I never really paid attention to it because there was so much going on in the case, and then I jumped over to the Nicola Bully case. When I came back to this case, every day I go to things, research things when I have time. And when I saw that, I automatically sat and I always feel sorry for the victims. May they rest in peace. But really got shocked. I started sending the pictures to some friends, to people my children's age, which are the 4 victims' age, or a bit younger, and I was asking them, what do y'all think about it? Most of them said the same thing. They said either it's gang related, or either it's a sign for rest in peace, like a memory. And somebody said it could be a sign of celebration. And a couple of my friends said it's a sign, do not talk. The people in the neighborhood, they're warning them, don't snitch, don't talk about what y'all have seen. Then I decided to research it in different dictionaries, and then it was said that the throwing of the trainers on top of the telephone wire actually represents, they said that it came out in the 60s. It started from the United Kingdom and the United States, and it became a phase that spread. I've seen that a lot in UK. You see trainers thrown up in a wire. It's like when you see in some movies that you see some people pour down a bit of alcohol from the bottle and they say, like you see even in the movies, like, this is for so and so and all that, who isn't no longer with us here. That is a sign of that. That's what I thought. Then I checked in. Most of the dictionaries had one thing in common, and you can Google that up. Gang organized crime. That was the part that I was shocked. You don't hear me saying honestly that this case is related to drugs. I just pointed out that number 9 put something in Maddie's mouth. But when I look at it behind the scenes, it is a possibility. For 4 people to be horrifically murdered in that manner, I could only see 2 things. One is that it was targeted, or the resident or the victims were targeted, like the police themselves said. So it has to be follow the money. Was money involved? Those are just normal questions. I'm not accusing, I'm saying that clearly I'm not accusing any of the victims. They are victims, there's a reason, of indulging themselves in such things. But questions have to be asked. That's critical thinking. What could be the motive? Money is a motive in most of the crimes. Revenge is a motive in most of the crimes. Jealousy, crime of passions, all of those things. Knife killings, I wouldn't say are rare, but I see they're very intimate. It's very personal. Very personal. I do understand sometimes people use knives because they don't want to be traced to guns and gunpowders and all that. And, example, in UK and in Europe, there are people who use guns, but very few, because guns are not that accessible here. And they are actually starting to be very common now, but they know they'll get caught quicker. So to leave lesser trace, they use all kind of machetes. I hate to say that. Should go on. I told you all of the reasons why I believe Brian could be involved, because of the leather night chief. Let's not forget that. He's carping in the areas, him turning off his horn. But now let me come to the other side. Let's think the other way. Brian Kohberger is a PhD student of crime and justice. He's done criminology in masters. He's done his bachelor degree in psychology. So he has a lot of different degrees. And he is an intelligent student, according to his teachers. He seemed to know everything. He was always raising his hand. Do you think Brian Kohberger would just take a chance of entering a house with 6 people and a dog and possibly more people? Because this house, there were many people who used to party. We've seen the body cams where the guy and Hunter were telling the police, I don't even live here, I just came here, I don't know who lives here. We're dealing with those kind of people. How come Hunter Johnson was always in the house? He's been in at least 2 of the body cams by the police. So what does that show you? Sigma Chi boys had access to the house. Common sense will tell us, because they were doing all the openings of the door for the police. What did they say? Seeing is believing. So this I'm not speculating. The Sigma Chi boys were in the house, partying often. We've seen pictures, non-stop pictures of the parties going in the house. May they rest in peace. This is not about the victims. We want justice for the victims. But this has to come out in the open. I don't like beating behind the bushes and being biased and just bringing what we were told into the picture. What about the things we see? We heard Alevira, Kaylee's sister, clearly saying that many people had the password to the locks of the main entrance. So how many of these people had the passwords to the rooms too? Or were the rooms always left open? Xana's lock had issues. Her father had to come and fix it. I wonder why. Let's think, Xana was on the 2nd floor. That means she was sharing a bath and the corridor with Dylan, who moved upstairs, DM. Was Xana trying to have some privacy? Obviously, she has a boyfriend, may rest in peace. She has friends. Was her stuff being taken from the room? Did she have something in her room? Did she feel unsafe? I always wonder about that. I wonder if Xana felt something, may she rest in peace. I'm not saying that she saw a horrific murder coming, but did she have that sense that, let me call my dad, these doors the locks need to be fixed? Did she have some experience there? If that was Maddie's jacket, let's not forget, that means something could have happened to Maddie and them much earlier than 4 a.m. That's what I believe. I'm still figuring out that part, but I believe that it's possible that if BK wasn't involved and he was innocent, just in case he was, we can't be biased, we have to be fair. If that was the case, BK could have known one of the surviving roommates, and they could have just called him there after the horrific crimes happened. They could have been in shock. Just say if he knew BF, maybe. The reason I say BF is because he wants to speak to BF, not me. So did BF ask BK to come? Maybe she thought he has these things in order since he's done crime and justice and all that. So why don't I ask BK to come over? That's a possibility. What if it wasn't BK, the car? We've been told, or they're trying to tell us, that BK managed to unlive 4 people, leave 2 surviving roommates, leave the dog unharmed, within what, 10 minutes? Or 8 minutes? Or 9 minutes? Doesn't make sense. He's not a hitman. He's not a trained killer. He's a student. Something doesn't add up. If we were told that BK and some other people did it, I would have said case closed. That I can believe. Another important thing, why would Brian Kohberger do a crime like this, a quadruple murder, and decide, you know what, now I'm going to just sit, chill back and watch the news and watch what they say about the work I've done in this horrific quadruple murders, trigger one. You know what I'm going to do? In fact, I'm not going to go and rush and go home for Thanksgiving or for all those things. I'll just stay here and wait for the police to pull up and catch me. I don't think Brian Kohberger's that dumb. But his alibi for now sucks a bit. It doesn't mean it's impossible. It is possible. Some people love to drive. At night. Some people love to clean at night. I remember the whole summer holidays when I was free. I was doing a lot of things at night. I was doing most of my cleaning at night. I would even drive and go get some shopping at night, because we have supermarkets that are open 24/7. And I used to try and sleep a bit longer in the day and get up by 11, 12. Those were the good summer days, but now the holiday's over. So what I'm trying to say is anything is possible. Brian Kohberger's neighbors said that he's awake a lot at night. They can hear him hoovering and cleaning, and we know that he has OCD. I wonder if he was suffering of any other mental health illness. It'll be interesting when the trial comes out. The leather knife sheath is the only thing that makes you, like, you remember that song they used to say, things that make you go, that is the only thing that I still can't get over. But then, it doesn't mean that it's definitely Brian Kohberger, because that's church DNA. That may not be his knife sheath, but his DNA could have been passed on easily. If somebody entered BK's house or touched his hair or did something and then came back and touched the knife sheath, if somebody wants to get away with murder, there's many ways, I guess. We've seen enough movies, we've seen enough documentaries. It does happen. People can get set up. Cover-ups happen. I'm not saying in this case that's what happened, but I'm saying something is not right. With those three fishy characters that I was seeing in Banfield, so when certain YouTube creator says that she's in contact with the Sigma Chi boys and they are all Mr. Two goody shoes, I don't believe that. Ask the Sigma Chi boys, what were they doing in Banfield? Why did they look like their clothes did not even fit them? Why did one of them, after the police stop was over, why did they go to the garbage bin? And we saw dodgy movements there in the body cam. Why were the Sigma Chi fraternity boys called first? Question. Hunter practically lived there, if you ask me. Or he was there often. So we know that the Sigma Chi boys party and have partied in Kings Road, 1122 Kings Road. That means they have the passcodes. 4 figures were running. I could be wrong, but I believe that was the Sigma Chi boys. You know why? Because they had motive with Xana, Eaton, and Maddie, allegedly. There was a fight that we've heard from everyone with the couple and the Davids. Either this was pre-planned or either something really went wrong. And if David Lodge allegedly is on steroids, you know, steroids work. Those are some powerful and heavy drugs. Side effects are deadly. So I'm not being biased, I'm being open-minded, critical thinking. I will never rule out BK as a suspect, and I'm still not ready to rule him in. It doesn't add up. I wanted you all to hear this part. This was from the no, it wasn't the CBS, it was the 48 Hours News. Oh, not news, sorry, the special edition, yeah. Because I find this to be crucial.
Moscow will forever be known as the scene of one of the most tragic crimes in American history. There's still sort of a darkness whenever you talk to people. It will be ever part of the university's history and the town's history.
There are 4 very, very important names in this case. Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. And if you're going to remember any names from this case, I ask that it be all 4. My name is Olivia Gonzalez, and Kaylee was my little sister.
Everybody's going to work, and you look out the window, and there's kids running down the street laughing, and you're just like, how can you be out there playing? My daughter's dead. You know, Kaylee Gonzalez is gone. Stop everything. Everybody in the whole world, stop. And everything just keeps going.
My sister, Xana Kernodle, is one of the happiest, funniest people I've ever met, and I had the awesome privilege of growing up with her, and I still have a hard time coming to terms with the facts that it did happen.
Brian Kohberger is accused of stabbing these 4 University of Idaho students in the pre-dawn hours on November 13th, 2022. The murder weapon, which was a knife, has never been found. This is a type of survival knife. Brian Kohberger did not make his own plea. The judge entered a plea for him of not guilty.
Maximum penalties, life in prison, or the death penalty.
Due to the nature of the crimes, the state of Idaho is seeking the death penalty.
He was there to kill.
He came in with a kit. I believe he had a kill kit. And you believe that everything right down to the implement of destruction, this large marine knife, that was all planned.
All planned.
It's inhumane. You wouldn't do these type of things to any living creature, let alone an innocent human being.
The star piece of evidence in the prosecution's case is the DNA that was found on the knife sheath that was left at the crime scene. But there's so much other evidence that's also pointing towards nobody else that we're aware of. How was Brian Kohberger's car spotted leaving the scene? Why was his cell phone seen there 12 times, including the morning after the offense?
The prosecution would like everyone to believe that it's an open and shut case. But I think the facts they have make the case more open than open and shut. According to the defense, there is no connection whatsoever between Brian Kohberger and the victims. And if there is no connection, then there is no motive. And if there is no motive, then it becomes very hard to make the case that he is the killer. And this is a graduate student, not a trained assassin.
It's more so about putting these pieces together, because I know what the puzzle looks like at the end. I have the box in front of me, but I'm missing so many pieces. How did all of these pieces fall to create what I'm living in right now? Where did this come from?
So that is from the 48 hours. I haven't gotten yet to see the whole special edition. I tend to do that within the next couple of days. But I find that to be interesting. Like I told you from the beginning, motive is not important, but it should be crucial. Because everything falls like a layout, like a lasagna. You can't just randomly just go and kill people, trigger warning, without any motive. It does happen now and then, but unless a person is suffering mentally, or unless somebody was under episode of a psychosis or such things, I could understand that. But there's usually a motive, whether it's a crime of passion, whether it's a targeted crime, whether the victims are the targets, or whether the house, the resident was the target. These are not my words. These are the words of Chief Fry himself. You heard Alivira saying, Kaylee's sister, that I have some pieces of the puzzle, but there are so many that are missing yet. Exactly. Another thing I'd like to end by saying, this is my speculation. If the prosecution was so confident about their case, just like Harvard Stern is saying, wouldn't they just lay it out on the table? If they had the motive, if they had everything, that they're confident that they have the right person? I don't think they have the right person. That's my personal meaning. Unless I see more, it's possible that it's Brian Kohberger, but show me the evidence. Show us more. All we saw when the court and all these pre-hearings and all these hearings and all was going on, we even saw the expert that spoke about how the genealogical DNA works. She got a visit from the FBI. What's going on? Keep in mind that 50%, 45 actually percent of the income of Moscow, Idaho, comes from the students. Which parent is going to enroll their students, their children, their loved ones into a college if the people who did this horrific quadruple murders are students themselves? Keep that in mind. That is going to be difficult. Very difficult. They're going to lose their income. And, God forbid, just picture if this had to do anything with money or drug organization, crime, or anything, how would that look for the college? I'm sure Moscow police and the college feels really, really unprofessional that the world is watching all the body cams, the police body cams of all the parties going on in Idaho, Moscow. And parents, adults, teachers, everyone will be asking themselves the same questions. Even me as a parent, although I don't live in the States, me as a mental health counselor, when I look at this, I just wonder, wow, is that possible? I promise you, if this was... Every state and every country has their own laws, but if this was the police in the UK, in London, they would have gone and got a warrant to get inside the house and find out what exactly has brought all these people in together, partying and bothering the other neighbors. We have Emma Bailey, who got away with the overdose case, her and Demetrius Robinson. She was inside the house and we saw that. Any connection? Question. Was she working with DM? Allegedly. Could BF have been friends with Brian Kohberger? Could DM has been friends with Brian Kohberger? Another question. Quinn Kelly, DM's boyfriend, where was he that night? I remember in the beginning of the case he was driving a light color car. He was seen by the college students in Idaho, Moscow that night, although he sent a timestamp to one of the YouTube creators, I think it was JLR, saying that, no, I wasn't even there and I was here. The students, the college students would know the best. And they leaked that out. There's even pictures that were on social media, on Snapchat and all, that DM took of her and Queen Kelly in a party, and or they were chilling outside wherever in Moscow, and after the murders she put it on private, and then later on the account was deleted. Last but not least, besides the Sigma Chi boys, I'm very interested in the double Jacks. Jack D, let me start with him. He had a white pickup car. He had a Hyundai Elantra, white one, in front of his house with dark screen, tinted windows. How come that was investigated? He sold his white pickup a week later. Why did Kaylee and Maddie call him 10 times? I don't believe that was a drunk call. What was told to Adam? Kaylee's voice sounded like she was stressed, upset. Maddie, what did you tell Adam? I told Adam like everything. What is everything? I'm not going to speculate about the drugs and all, but what is everything? Jack Showalter, I like the fact that people say, oh, he was there just to have the girls and escort them. No, I don't believe that. Everything I see going on in the grub truck and every research I've done about him in social media and heard from people in Moscow, Idaho, he ain't innocent. He comes from a family of fortune, who have money, who have influences. His mother and father and his two brothers are doctors. Jack Showalter has been thrown out of the fraternity for different reasons. SEXUAL, harassment, is one of them. He has a nasty habit of bothering women and girls. The other reason was he was throwing dead animals, coyotes and all, in front of the is it called Sorority? Yeah, the sorority girls' place. He was at the corner club. Witnesses, young females who were there, told their parents that Kaylee and Maddie were being harassed by him that night. So they reported him to the bartender and the bouncers, and he got kicked out. We've heard that it's alleged, could be possible, may not be possible. We've seen the guy skinning animals or cutting animals, chopping them in pieces. Trigger warning. Typical signs of antisocial personality disorder. I would be looking into him more than Brian Kohberger. I would be looking into Brian Kohberger too. I'd be looking into all of them. And I would be looking into all of these people if they have any connection. Like if BK has any connection with us fraternity boys, or should we call them the parademics that came? They were the first people who came to the site, like they were the ambulance and the police. That should be the first red flag. 8 hours not to call the police says everything. Which of these two surviving roommates knew Brian Kohberger is another question. Guys, please like, share, and subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe to my second channel. It's called Hooded London Psychology and Crime. I'll put in the link in the community center page, because I'll be doing more about other cases, and especially I need to keep that as my reserve backup channel, because this case is just like, I don't believe there's many people who want to really tell y'all, many creators, what is on their mind. I can go according to the book and read the affidavits and not ask questions and tell y'all yeah, Brian is guilty, but that's not the way I do my research. I like people to be mindful, respectful to the victims and the families, but to have an open mind, like Steve is doing. Steve said he's willing for anything down the line. Brian could have been the killer, or there could be other possibilities. And that's how I look at it too. Stories have been changed so many times by the police themselves that I'm just waiting for the court to start. And let's not forget, I want to end by saying there's 3 unidentified DNAs, male DNAs found in that house. Until they show us that, and until they show us how they got to the roadmap of the genealogical DNA test, I think they got it illegally, honestly. Because they're not supposed to get it from my ancestry T and me too and all. They're not supposed to use that. They could have used that. That's why they're taking their time. Please like, share, and subscribe. I think it was really sweet, and I knew that from the start that Arivia's daughter is named after Maddie K, Theodora Maddie K. May God bless her. It's so sad that these students are gone. Somebody horrifically snatched their life out of them. And those people need to be brought to justice and pay. I feel really sad for Yasmin, because Zana was her sister, and we can see what the family's been through. We can see that. So I really feel sorry for them. Feel sorry for Ethan. His siblings won't grow up with the fact that it's like a third part of you missing. You can imagine. Kaylee and her siblings. I feel really sorry for all of them. No human being deserves that. Those could have been my children. Those could have been your children. Those could have been... It's really sad. It's really horrific. And I believe the most important thing is we all are here to get the truth. The truth needs to be exposed. And I don't believe in working with